Welcome back. In this video you'll see us making a custom pool gate, and this is part of a bigger job. We did a bunch of fence panels that went between the customer's house and his pool, and this is the gate that they're going to use to access the pool. Now we're just using some 1" by 1" square tubing. We mitered the corners, we cut it, we're going to make the outside perimeter of the gate, and then we'll take a piece of 16 gauge and we cut and we actually insert a panel in the middle of this and weld it up. Here I got the gate all cut to size and laid out, and now I'm just measuring for the actual hinges on the gate. The adjustable J-bolt hinges is what we're going to end up using. So I just measure it out, lay it out against the hinge side, and drill the holes on the drill press. Here we're using the 90-degree clamp. We have those corners clamped up and we're just tacking it all together. Tacking up the corners before we weld it all out. And that clamp, it keeps everything nice and square. We use those 1" little piece of 1" cutoffs to raise it up off of our sort of flat table, and that keeps the whole gate nice and flat and the corners nice and square. Here I'm just cross taping it, making sure that it's square, and before we weld it all out, and of course it is. It's good. Now I'm just welding on the actual hinge side on that hinge post. That's where these J-bolts are going to sit down into, and this thing will swivel on those. Here you can see us applying the ABCs of welding, always being comfortable. And we try to do that as much as possible. Once it's all welded out, we just take the angle grinder with some flap discs and we smooth out those corners. Now just cleaning up that hinge side a little bit, getting it ready for paint. Now this is that inner panel. You can see us using our 96" sheet metal brake to put a brake on each one of those long ends, and that's just going to stiffen up this whole panel and give us some place to attach it. We ended up, you can see there, we're welding that little bend, we're welding it to that gate. Come out real nice that way. Here we're installing those J-bolts, just making sure everything clears, and we left the way that we cut that gate, we left it so it'd be easily adjustable from either side. What we're cutting out here is a family crest. Now this is going to be an overlay onto that panel that we just welded into the gate. This family crest is the customer's family crest, and they gave us a JPEG, and we were able to take that JPEG and with our software convert it to a file that we can cut on this table. And this is a pretty big cut. And you can see the machine just going to work. It's cutting at 250 inches a minute at I believe 128 volts on the torch no, I'm sorry, 78 volts on the torch I control. And it does a nice job. We're using fine cut consumables in our Hypertherm 45XP machine torch. That Hypertherm with the fine cut consumables does a really nice job and real nice clean cuts on this 16 gauge. We're really pleased with it. Now this is a pretty big cut, and we ended up cutting up 2 of them, 1 for each side of the gate. I don't remember exactly how long it took, but it was one of the bigger cuts that we do for one particular cut. You see us pulling out those pieces. Those are what's called orphans, and those orphans we're actually going to take and put back into the piece as part of the design, and you'll see us doing that. Here, this is one of them. We're just cleaning up. We got it on the table here with the flap disc, just knocking off all the rust and cleaning up, getting ready for paint. You can see those fine little details of this cut, and that magnetic clamp on this table really shines when it comes to this stuff, because it just holds those pieces down, those really small pieces, and we can lean on it or really use that flap disc or that angle grinder and clean it up and not have to worry about it distorting or bending that metal at all. It's really nice. Now that everything's cleaned up, we got it laid out here to paint. Now we're putting on this. This is just a flat black. It's a rust reformer type paint that stops rust, and it also actually acts as a primer. You see us just laying that down here right now. Now we're adding the top coat. This is a silver-like hammered metallic paint that'll hold up real good out here in our Arizona sun, in our heat, in the weather, and it looks real nice, especially against that black. It really pops, looks real sharp. Here we're just cleaning up the gate panel and the strike and the hinge side there. We're gonna get ready, we're gonna prime it and then paint it. We're using that same primer, that flat black primer, because our top coat's gonna be black, so it's a no-brainer. We use that flat black primer. That's gonna help stop any rust, protect it, and seal it. Here we are laying down the top coat on that gate. This is after it's been primed. We let it sit overnight, and then we sand it down with some 320, knock down any of the high spots, smooth it all out real good, wipe it all down for dust, and now we're using the HVLP and laying down this top coat. It's a Sherwin-Williams product, a DTM style top coat that works out really good for this Arizona summers. The heat and the extreme temperatures really that we get here in Arizona. So here we are setting that overlay on one of the sides. Now we just use an exterior grade silicone adhesive, put it on the back of that, we'll lay it down. Those are those orphan pieces that we're putting in. You'll see this whole process as it goes down. And then we just put a piece of wood on it and put some heavy weights, use a couple of buckets full of trash really, and just let it sit overnight. And that works really well. We'll do this to both sides. Like I said, that family crest is on both sides of this gate. And now for the big reveal. There it is. Thanks for watching.